I'm live. I am currently working on building out a second brain, but before I focused on the tools, I wanted to focus on the what and like who and how I wanted to work. That is actually the key to work that I do with clients, organizations, and individuals. I help them shorten the gap between strategy and execution. So, what I'm focused on is building a system that can help me remember resources, tools, trainings, books I've read, key things I've gone through and learned about, while also managing my transcripts and my progress of my clients. Because something that has come up is that I've been really challenged to remember as I've grown a little bit, like where my clients are in their own development, and while that is okay, I have resources to go back and look. I really want to create a system that can trigger reminders for myself. So I'm going to go through some questions that I'm asking myself before I even start building a second brain. Because as we know, our brain can only handle holding like, I think it's like 4 to 7 things at a time. And I want my brain to be available for creation. I already am a parent, a volunteer in the community, a business owner, somebody who's a leader in the area. So I wanted to share how I'm going through this process with you on Substack. So let's go through some of the questions that I've been seeing and that I've been working through. Number one, why I want a second brain. I want a second brain because I want to see what I want to solve for some of the pain points I have. I'm standing up and walking around a little bit. Before I focus on a certain tool, which is what I tell and work on my clients with, I want to think about what keeps slipping through the cracks right now. And I know that that's client notes, tracking their progress. And I go through after the meeting, after the session, document, and then have follow-ups and I put some stuff in my project tracker. So there's a lot of things that feels mentally cluttered, which comes to question number two. What feels most mentally cluttered? For me, a big part of that are my client notes and my schedule. My schedule gets really overburdened, and there has to be an easier way to make these things work. And what am I tired of holding in my head? And that is a key question that often I struggle with, as well as my clients. I have one client that I work with who works in real estate. He's a developer, and his special skill is he really can keep a lot of deadlines and processes in his brain. Now, that is a skill that has served him well, and he hasn't been able to replicate that to see how he can educate, other people on his team to do that as he moves up through the ranks. So that's something that we've been working on too. And so I need to work on that as well. I'm tired of holding deadlines, different dates. A lot of it is calendar and time related, which tracks for my ADHD brain. So, section number two for questions that I want to ask myself about my second brain that I'm building out with automation and AI within Microsoft or something else maybe is what do I want to trust the system with? And this is important because there are some things that I don't want the systems to have access to. I trust it with transcripts within reason. I trust it with sales calls, marketing content, blog posts, anything on Substack, recordings, idea banks that I have for work projects. So thinking about all of those things first. Number three, what kind of information actually matters to my life and work? This is a question that I really wanted to prioritize in my second brain. I wanted to figure out, are there things that I would benefit from having a second brain for in my life outside of my business? I prioritize my business above most things. My kiddo is numero uno, and my business often comes in second or third. Like my kid is my priority. A lot of reasons why I have my own business the past several years is so I could be more present with my kid. And there are some days where, I stumble in that. And I believe that there's some AI and automation that can really streamline the work that I do every day. Okay, so what kind of information actually matters in my life and work? And one of the key questions and key points in here is not all inputs I have deserve equal treatment. So, what information actually changes my decisions? That's a key. What insights do I come back to over and over again? what am I likely to use, not just save? So I want to answer that question right now. And when I think about what I'm likely to use, I'm likely to use something that I can access on my Apple, like my MacBook, my iPhone, and my tablet, something that I can use across tech platforms. So if I can only access it on my phone, that's a problem. If I can only access it on my computer, that's a problem. So I need something that works across my hardware, not just one or the other. Am I building for storage or for action? Ooh, man, this is a good one. So this is a big one. And when I think about a system, do I think about folders? Do I think about outcomes? How will this help me do something differently next week? So those I imagine this for both, and that means that I've got a little bit of a hill to climb. So I want my second brain for my business to focus more on storing resources that I've already made, as well as disseminating action steps and next steps based on conversations with clients and leads and stuff like that. I'm in a co-working space right now, and there's some people in the room next to me that are having a lot of fun, and it actually makes me really happy because I'm working on a Saturday, which is not uncommon for me. So it's just fun to hear people laugh. I hope you can hear that on Substack. So the next set of questions that I'm asking myself about my second brain is what is my natural way of thinking and retrieving information? I naturally go to my Google Drive right now and search up some keywords if I'm looking for resources for my clients. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to hope that I'm thinking about the same term how I did when I originally made something. And I do the same thing in Canva. There's so many different ways and places to search for stuff. I think in terms of projects. A lot of times I think in terms of themes, maybe focusing on task initiating, task avoidance, executive functioning, leadership development, situational awareness, etc. And I need something where I can either tag or a way to really be able to search within a doc or similar words like it. Um, what level of friction can I realistically maintain? So, a sustainable system is better than a perfect one. And that's where I live day in, day out with myself and with my clients. So, I am willing to put in as much effort as I need to within reason. And for me, that is a time based thing. So I want to be able to get what I need within 2, max 3 minutes, which if it takes me a little bit longer to get it set up, that's okay. But I want to be able to be in a position with my second brain to go in and within 2 or 3 minutes have what I need. Um, will I still do it on a low energy day? It's always about energy management with me. The answer needs to be yes. That's why it's 2 or 3 minutes going in and finding things quickly. Will I abandon the moment life gets busy? If things are automated, abandoning doesn't matter because things are going into the system as they are. The biggest thing I'm seeing now is moving from I have Fathom to record my sessions. It's done a really great job for the past, I would say, almost 2 years. And it's just another system that I'm paying for. And I'm kind of tired of it, to be completely honest. And I want to be able to migrate over to something that is documenting, uh, taking the transcript, writing a summary, writing the next steps. Fathom does that really, 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 really well. And it's still in a separate system and it drives me nuts because I have to log in to like 3 different things before I have a client call. I need to log into my Google Notes. I need to log into my Fathom. I need to log into Zoom. Well, actually, I'm migrating to Microsoft Teams, so I need to go into Microsoft. There are just too many things involved with one call. And ideally, it would be way less friction when I'm talking about execution. So that's the level of friction. And going into my last couple of questions, I'm going to ask myself what should not go into my second brain, what information is best left out, what belongs in a task manager, not the knowledge system. Ideally, I would have it have access to tasks and project systems like Microsoft Planner, but um, that is, I think, more of a long term goal than a short term one. How will I review and resurface what I capture? A second brain isn't about saving, it's about remembering. And so I think a big thing is asking it to give me a summary over the past 2 weeks or even 90 days on what I've learned and how it integrates into what I work in. So, even a word cloud, or even thinking about what are all the things that have come up repeatedly in conversations, in my research, and in inquiries for proposals. So, being able to go back and be like, what has my last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days looked like? Next up, what would this make me feel supportive instead of oppressive? This is all about nervous system, right? Like I do a lot of support for ourselves, and that involves emotional regulation. It's like, would this system make me feel calmer or more behind? Does it reduce my decision fatigue? That is key because we don't want to make things more complicated. And some of the last question I have is, what's the smallest version of this that would still help me? This is where people forget the importance of when you're taking action, we want to think about what's the smallest version that would be successful right now. For me, that looks like getting the automation set up between a session or a conversation with a client, the recording, and getting that into OneNote, getting that into a Word doc, a place that can be reviewed, retrieved, and put into some kind of template. I think that is the lowest version that I'm in right now. So these are the things that I'm thinking about before building out my second brain. And I wanted to share those with you. Have you started setting up your second brain? I was able to learn so much more about this from somebody else on Substack. Coach Jay talks about this a lot and has been talking about it recently. And I started researching it more this last week. And this is the weekend I've been working on developing the how do I want to work? Who am I working with? What could that look like? And then figuring out what the tools are to match it. That's the last step. Am I implementing Microsoft 365 across my business? Yes. And so that'll be a big part, is questioning how can I move that and move it in that direction if that makes sense. I'm not against going outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. Would like to stay within it if possible, but it's not necessary. So that is where I am. I'd love to hear from you. How are you developing your second brain?